worrying discovery has been made at Yellowstone Supervolcano at the national park. It's made by the images of satellite taken over the area, and it's shown something changing. NASA scientists made the discovery over the effects of climate change after studying satellite data for more than 20 years. Satellite data having to do with Yellowstone National Park. The study used data from NASA's Earth science satellites. They reveal how the seasons have been changing over the past 2 decades and impacting the livestock in the area. It showed that the period of vegetation growth has been getting much longer each year, likely as a result of climate change decreasing the severity of the winters and warming average temperatures overall. And scientists found that this effect on the productivity of grassland contributed to the growing number of Yellowstone bison in the park. The work also shows that the same data available in near real time helps the park's conservation efforts by providing daily maps of green grass cover that help forecast the movement of the bison herds. Christopher Potter, an earth scientist at NASA, said on March 10th, "It's complex. We found that the length of the growing season is changing quickly, but by compiling data, daily satellite data, we created a near real-time online tool that resource managers can consult, much like a weather map." NASA completed the work at the request of the National Park Service and wanted to understand the effects of climate change and what they have on the park and the animals, of course. Researchers used MODIS, that is Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer. It's mounted on both their Terra and their Aqua satellites, and with the data analysis performed, wildlife managers can now track the effects of climate change daily and act accordingly. They use the data to try to anticipate where and when confrontations between bison and human communities are likely to happen as a result. And we have had this last year, and it was not at all pleasant. Because, all these bison, we've seen them in the area of the Upper Geyser Basin, where we have the geysers going off, the Old Faithful geyser and the geysers around there. And we have all these pathways that go around these geysers. And the bison are there. The bison are actually there in this Upper Geyser Basin. And a few times when I've posted the videos of the Old Faithful live cam, we have seen bison herds right in that Upper Geyser Basin area between the geysers and Old Faithful. So, and at the time when people were on the pathways, can you imagine? That's unbelievably, my hair is standing on end. I'm thinking of it. Oh my God. They're cute to see when there's nobody there. But when you have tourists milling around, that's very dangerous. So the conservationists would try to introduce appropriate measures to tackle the effects of global warming on the ecosystem of the park. What are they going to do? I have no idea. They will also use MODIS to fight wildfires by predicting when snow is starting to melt and vegetation, which is fuel for the fire, is growing rapidly across the landscape. Dr. Potter said MODIS is a silver bullet for these large-scale wilderness situations where daily updates make all the difference in planning a response to this. He said that's what it is, that's what it was designed for, and it's the only thing out there that can do it. Now, climate change poses a massive threat to Yellowstone National Park as it does to the rest of the world, and the National Park Service website says current research indicates Yellowstone's temperature will continue to rise over the next century, but the behavior of precipitation is more difficult to predict, the rain that is. And he says the continued rise in temperature will fundamentally alter Yellowstone's ecosystem, likely affecting the composition of plants and animals throughout the park. It will also alter the amount of timing of spring snowmelt, which affects water levels, vegetation growth, and the movement of wildlife from migrating bison to spawning trout to the arrival of pollinators. And he says as headwaters to significant water basins Any change in the rivers flowing out of Yellowstone affects downstream users like ranchers, farmers, towns, and cities. It also affects the geysers, of course, because that water goes into the ground as well. And this is on Express UK by Callum Hoare. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.